Imagine being born into a life of deceit, where the one person you trust the most is your worst enemy. This was the reality for Gypsy Rose Blanchard, born on July 1, 1991. From an early age, her mother, Dee Blanchard, crafted a world where Gypsy was the victim. A chronically ill child suffering from a laundry list of ailments including leukemia, muscular dystrophy, and epilepsy. This portrayal led to Gypsy's life being confined to a wheelchair, completely dependent on her mother for care. Dee's manipulations were not just a betrayal of trust, but a sickening display of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a psychological disorder where a caregiver fabricates or induces illness in those under their care for sympathy and attention. However, time has a way of revealing the truth. As Gypsy grew older, her faith in her mother's words began to waver. The veil of deceit, so carefully woven by Dee, began to lift. As Gypsy advanced in years, she started to question the medical diagnoses her mother had presented her with. A world of perpetual illness and disability, it seemed, was all she'd known. Yet, as she navigated the labyrinth of her existence, she stumbled upon threads of doubt that began to weave a disturbing tapestry of deceit. Imagine, if you will, a life where your reality is built on a foundation of lies, where the one person you trust implicitly, the one who should protect you, is the architect of your suffering. This was Gypsy's world, a world where her mother, Dee, played both the savior and the villain. Our tale takes a darker turn as we delve into the sinister realm of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. This psychological disorder, often seen in caregivers, involves the deliberate fabrication or induction of illness in someone under their care. It's a desperate and twisted bid for attention and sympathy. And in Gypsy's case, her mother was the puppet master, pulling the strings of a grand deception that would last for years. Dee, with a calculated cruelty that sends chills down the spine, manipulated her daughter's life, convincing her she was stricken with a host of ailments. From leukemia to muscular dystrophy and epilepsy, the list was as extensive as it was horrifying. Gypsy was made to believe she was a prisoner in her own body, bound by the chains of illnesses she didn't have. But as Gypsy grew older, she began to see through the veil of lies. The web of deceit started to unravel, thread by thread. She discovered that her life was not a tragic tale of a chronically ill child, but rather a perverse play scripted by her own mother. But the truth, once discovered, can only be hidden for so long. The stage was set for a shocking revelation that would not only shatter Gypsy's world, but would also send shockwaves across the nation. The curtain was about to rise on the next act of this tragic drama. In 2015, Gypsy Rose met Nicholas Godejohn online, a meeting that would forever change their lives. As Gypsy began to question the reality of her medical diagnoses and the world her mother had constructed, she found solace in her relationship with Nicholas. He was a beacon in the shadows, someone who offered her a taste of normalcy and freedom. Together, they shared a common dream: to escape from the clutches of Dee's control. Their online exchanges grew more intense, with Nicholas becoming a confidant, an ally, and a romantic partner to Gypsy. As they shared their darkest secrets and deepest fears, they also began to weave a sinister plot. They dreamed of a life away from the endless hospital visits, the medical procedures, and the overbearing presence of Dee. They longed for a world where Gypsy could walk, laugh, and live like any other young woman. Together, they would make a decision that would shock the world. In June 2015, a plan devised by Gypsy and Godejohn unfolded, resulting in the murder of Dee Blanchard. This marked the climax of a story that had been years in the making, a chilling turn of events that would shock the nation. Springfield, Missouri, a town that had been lulled into believing a narrative of a devoted mother caring for her severely sick child, was about to be rocked to its core. Gypsy, who had been portrayed as a fragile and helpless girl, was now at the center of a horrifying crime scene. Alongside her stood Nicholas Godejohn, a man she had met online and with whom she had developed a clandestine love affair. They had conspired and executed a plan with a single chilling objective: to free Gypsy from the clutches of her allegedly abusive mother. The scheme culminated in the murder of Dee Blanchard, carried out by Godejohn at Gypsy's behest. Dee's body was discovered in their small pink house that was once a symbol of community kindness and compassion. The news spread like wildfire, leaving the community and the nation in shock and disbelief. The media descended on Springfield, eager to unravel the threads of this macabre event. As the murder investigation unfolded, the seemingly innocent facade began to crumble. The police found no medical equipment, no medications, no signs of a sick child living in the house. The wheelchair that Gypsy had been confined to was found abandoned, adding another layer of mystery to this already perplexing case. The image of the frail, chronically ill Gypsy began to fade, replaced by the reality of a woman who had been held captive in a web of deceit and manipulation. The shocking revelation that Gypsy was not as medically compromised as her mother had portrayed shook the public to its core. The murder of Dee Blanchard, the revelation of the years of lies and deception, and the involvement of Gypsy and her lover in the crime, left many grappling with a disturbing question. Who was the real victim in this twisted tale of manipulation and murder? But the story was far from over. Following the murder, the truth about Gypsy's health and the years of deceit by her mother were revealed. Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn were apprehended in Wisconsin, marking the start of a trial that would unveil a shocking tale of manipulation and abuse. As the court proceedings unfolded, a different picture of Gypsy began to emerge. A victim, not of numerous diseases, but of her mother's twisted lies. Dee had been fabricating Gypsy's illnesses, a stark case of Munchausen syndrome by Proxy. Gypsy, confined to a wheelchair, was, in fact, able to walk. The so-called chronically ill child was a healthy young woman trapped in a web of deceit. The court's verdict was a reflection of this twisted tale. Gypsy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Godejohn, the executor of the crime, received life without parole. In the end, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was sentenced to 10 years in prison, a chilling end to a life of deception.